Okay, good day to everyone. For our Module 7, I will be discussing one of the evaluation designs used in social marketing and social mobilization programs, particularly in evaluating communication materials. So the specific design assigned to me is the pretest post-test design without a control group. So by the end of my presentation, I hope that you will be able to, number one, define the pretest post-test no control group evaluation design. The second one is explain how it is used in evaluating communication materials in social marketing and social mobilization. Number three, identify the key components required for implementing this design. Analyze its strengths and limitations, particularly in terms of validity. And the last one is apply the design in practical communication evaluation scenarios. So first, what is the pretest post-test no control group design para at least alam natin kung ano talaga ito. So in simple terms, this design measure change over time by comparing results before and after an intervention. So we first conduct a pretest or baseline measurement before exposing participants to a communication material or campaign. Then, after the intervention, we conduct a post-test. The same group of participants is used. So there is no control group for comparison to see if there are any changes. So basically, we asked, what did people know or believe before? And what do they know or believe after? So I remember when we are in college, our research is the pre-testing instructional video on VCO and malunggay tea making among the housewives. So what is the purpose of producing such materials? Or material. Of course, it was produced to measure if that material can actually help in educating a certain group of people using such materials before we can actually enhance it for reproduction. So in simple terms, we measure people first, expose them to a campaign, then measure them again to see what changed. Just like what in our material did. So we actually conduct a pretest or questions, series of questions to the participants. And then that questions must be included in the discussion of the material. And then after that, you show them the material or the video. And after the video presentation or the intervention, you ask or you conduct a what we call the post test, the same set of questions, so that you can measure the difference of the participants' knowledge before and after the intervention. So now how it is applied in evaluating communication materials. So this design is commonly used to evaluate materials such as posters, social media campaigns, public service announcements, and educational videos. So let's say we have a health campaign video about dengue prevention. Before showing the video, we asked participants questions about their knowledge of dengue. Ano ba yung alam nila tungkol sa dengue? Because we are trying to actually assess the prior knowledge of our respondents. But those questions, as I've said, you must be included it in the material. That's our pretest. Then, let them see the material or the video which we considered as our intervention. So ipapakita mo sa kanila yung video presentation about the campaign material about dengue or how to prevent yung sakit na dengue. So ipapakita mo yun sa kanila. And that's our intervention. So after they watch the video, we asked similar questions again, just like the questions or series of questions in your pre-test. So you administer them again, and that is considered as our post-test. So if we see an improvement in their answers or in their scores, so we can say that the communication materials may have contributed to increasing their knowledge. So this design is commonly used for evaluating, yun nga sinabi natin kanina about the posters, social media campaigns, videos, and public service announcement or any communication materials na ipoproduce natin. So for this design to work properly, there are three important components we need to consider. First, um, we need to have a representative sample, meaning the participant should reflect the target audience of the campaign. And then the second one, the pre-test and post-test must measure the same concept, such as knowledge, attitudes, or practice, even if the exact questions are not identical. And the third one is the pre-test must be conducted before the intervention and the post-test after. Then post-test must be done after the intervention para makuha natin or malaman natin kung ano ba yung mga knowledge nila prior doon sa implementation. Or I mean, para makuha natin yung difference ng kanilang nag-gain na knowledge. So usually this design is used to measure what we call the CAP or the knowledge, attitudes, and practices because in social marketing, the goal is not just to inform people, but to change their behaviors. Now, let's talk about the strengths of this design, the strength and weaknesses of this design. First, let's focus on the strength of this design. It is simple and easy to implement, especially in real world settings. The second one is it is cost effective since we don't need a control group. Yung experimental group mo lang yung kailangan mo. Plus less time and effort, resources. The third one is it allows us to clearly see the changes over time, which is very useful in evaluating communication campaigns. However, this design also has its own what we called limitation. So what are these limitations? So the biggest issue is its lack of internal validity. So this means we cannot completely sure that the changes we observe were caused by the intervention itself. There may be other factors involved, such as, like, for example, history or other events happening at the same time. Then, maturation or natural changes in participants, testing effects, where participants improve simply because they took the test before or changes in the measurement tool. So, since there is no control group, we have nothing to compare with, which makes it difficult to confirm cause and effect. So when should we use this kind of design? This is best when we have limited time or resources. Then the second one is a control group is not practical or ethical, or when we need a quick feedback on communication materials. So, therefore, the pretest, post-test, no control group design is a practical and useful tool for evaluating communication materials in social marketing and social mobilization. It helps us measure changes in knowledge, attitudes, and behavior. However, we must remember that it cannot fully prove causality. So results should be interpreted carefully. In short, it is a good method for measuring change, but not for providing that the intervention alone caused that change. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much. And here are my references for this report. Have a good day to everyone.